Is it massive? You've booked it.
I was going to say I'm going to keep it short and sweet, but I'm really going to keep it short and sweet now. Okay, well, hey, that's some people, that's cool. Excuse the silly mic, but I want to do... well, first of all, I want to thank Dave and the team, and Dave's going to now call out the other people. Steve is not here, but Steve set the club up.
Not here, he's out in Finland.
Okay.
He couldn't make it today.
Yeah.
Who else? Well, there's quite a few of us now as well, just swag, so, you know.
Okay, so I don't know how many of you remember the old days, but these kind of groups were pretty much a lifeblood, because you didn't want to listen to idiots like me telling you what our products do. You want to go and talk to people who maybe bought it and actually get some actual proper feedback, find out what these things are like. So these user groups pretty much were always the lifeblood. So that's why I like. It was nice to come. I didn't think it was going to be quite so many actually, to be fair, but it's nice to come along. And I've been here about 3-4 times now. Yeah. So always had a good time. And Scott does my machine as well, which is quite nice. I'm going to do some, go through the slides. Now, everything you're going to see on there is coming out of my Vampire. For anyone thinks, because my wife said, you can take your laptop. No. So it's all coming out of the Vampire. So everything you see on there is coming out of an Amiga 500. I'm going to just a little brief talk, and then afterwards I want to do questions. And then you can ask me anything you like. I'm not bound by legal things. Okay? I'm bound by some kind of trying not to upset too many people. But I once was in a stage in 1994, something like that, in Stockholm, and some people know I'm not a big fan of Petro. Everyone thinks he's the second coming of Christ, but he ain't. And he got up, talked a load of rubbish. I got up, told everyone the truth, and you know. So there may be that talk in a Amiga 34. I'll do that another time. Right, so. I see we can all see this is a little bit dark, but so basically my history, for those who don't know, and I'll keep this brief, I did the original Checkmate 1500 about 30 years ago. It is actually the 30th anniversary this year, and that was launched then. I didn't design the case, very important. I tell everyone this, I bang on about this because I didn't design the case, and I've sadly forgotten the name of the guy who actually designed it, but when we got through selling a couple of hundred, they sodded off and sold them to another company behind our back, so I'm not that worried about that. But yeah, so that was the case we launched there, and you may have heard the story about Commodore. It's in David's book, if you're interested, read that. This one here was the one that was like the second version. It was a tower, and it was a motherboard that you plugged the 500 into, which gave you Zorro slots. It gave you basically everything in the 2000, because we basically thought, well, if Commodore were not happy about us doing it with the 500, we'll just go to town on it and do it really properly. This was going to ship in the States. Unfortunately, the company was going to distribute it called Innovatronics went bust, which is a bit of a shame. So that's that history. This is my product. Myself and Paul Nolan created this system called Siamese System. Look online, you can find out about that. Some bits of it are going to come back, which I won't talk about today, but mostly to do with switching and using Raspberry Pi with Amigas to give you some extra functionality. This is the one, my biggest, well, I won't say my biggest disaster, but this product was the one that killed my company off completely. This is the Inside Out board, it was called, by Mick Tinker. If you've not heard of it, look, again, it's in the book, look it up, there's a lot of history about it, but basically, it was a 6840 on a card, you plugged it into a PC, then with our Siamese RTG software, it turned the PC into an Amiga, a Macintosh, and Windows. And that was going to be really massive. Gateway, we had an agreement with them, we'd had like $50,000 from them, we thought we were going to be millionaires, and then they pulled the plug. So that was the thing that killed me off. There's also, in the book, there's a little bit about one of the things that went a bit pear-shaped there. But I've covered that enough. So I disappeared for a while. and I came back to Amiga about 2008. In fact, I threw out. I won't tell. Yeah, I always do. So I kind of threw with the other project. I threw everything out, and except my 1000. It's the only thing I kept. I won't tell you that I threw out a 4000 tower because you'd probably all string me up. But I did actually do that. So, but I was in a pretty bad place. So anyway, I came back in 2008 and I found AROS because all I ever wanted to do with that card, my plan from that day, and I think it's when people say, "Oh, hindsight's a good thing." No, at that time we knew that the x86 was going to kill everything. We knew, okay. PowerPC, well, it's a waste of time. I've always thought it was a waste of time. x86 was going to be the future, and that's what that board was going to be the way that we could get Amiga onto x86, so we could have some real performance. However, when I came back in 2008, I found AROS and absolutely fell in love because it was the Amiga on x86. They'd done all the work 10 years later, and so I'm a massive fan. As you can see, I've done tons of videos on it, and to this day I still think it's the future. There'll be a little bit on that later on, but I'm a massive fan of it. I'll leave it at that now. This very nice message from Dave Pleasance who put that up. He had nothing to do with the Commodore hating the 1500. Thank you for doing that video. That was like going to a shrink. It was like getting all that out. He had no idea about it, and because I said to him when I knew he was doing the book, I said, "You really want to put something about the 1500 in there?" And then he spoke to Kieran, because I always get Kieran and Kelly muddled up. And he spoke to Kieran, and apparently Kieran shoved his feet. Oh, I don't remember, you know. And so he said, "Okay, right, it did actually. That was true." So I thought he was going to put a little bit in the book, but he let me put a whole chapter. And in the back of this is I actually pre-wrote this thing about my Amiga history, which I thought, well, one day I'll put it out there. And it was only, in fact, I'd had it for about 6 months. This chapter, and he really kindly put. But I thought he put a little bit. He put a lot in, so I was over the moon with that. Okay, so. That's the book. Please go out and buy the book, not because I'm in it, but because it is actually a really good book, and I do like David. He's such a nice man, and I wish I'd met him on that day. Anyway, so apart from my 1000, this is my favourite computer. In fact, I don't think how many hands up who's got 4000s? Oh, that's all. I'm only going to piss off one person then. This is the last good Amiga to me. I truly think the 4000s was a fine machine, nothing compared to this. It was an absolutely wonderful machine. Not just because it was good looking, which it is, but because they really went to town. They cut no corners in it, they put everything you need in it, and it was fantastic. So I'm a massive fan of that, and put a graphics card in it, wipes the floor with the 4000. Now I've used 4000s as well, but I'm not a massive fan of AJ, even though it's a great chipset, too little too late. So the Kickstarter, because David did the book, I thought, oh man, when that book comes out and it starts shipping, there'll be all this publicity. People read the book and I might be able to do this again. So I thought I'll do this, and I didn't expect anyone to be interested. I've got to be honest, I did not expect anyone to be interested. I did the designs and I did a couple of videos, and the response was pretty damn good, and I was really surprised. Everyone liked the look. It did change a lot. Well, not a huge amount, but it did change over time. So I thought I'd do a Kickstarter. As you all know, the Kickstarter was a success, which it was quite funny. I don't know if any of you tracked it. I mean, it's not that interesting really, but if you tracked it, first day it went like that, it shot right, oh, whoa, it's great, and then it levelled off, and it was like this, literally until the last 2 or 3 days, and then it went and then some of you may have seen me a bit. I'm going to get emotional today as well. Aren't I? May have seen me a bit emotional in one of my videos about that, because that was a bit of a. Or did you see me do the dance with? You saw the dance, yeah. So I dragged Sue up because my wife, she'd actually fell off my motorbike at 5 miles an hour and snapped her leg. Got a bloody great pin down it. I'll show you the picture if you want. So she's got this massive pin down her leg. No, not naked, mate. But, so I thought, well, you know. Anyway, so I wanted to do this case. And the response has been really good, so I thought I'd launch Kickstarter. Now, 2 people. Is Paul here? He said he was coming. So Paul Kitchen. Now this graphics. There was 2 people that helped me with the graphics. One was Vasily. I can't pronounce his surname. Samedius, or yeah, but from Greece. And he's been fantastic, and he's given me loads of graphics. And Paul was the other guy that did a load of graphics. You can see. So the one on the right was done by Vasily, and the one on the left by Paul. So that's one of the images. And so I had all these great help. Now, you can't really see that too well, but this is the one that everyone got really excited because you could actually see pretty much what it's going to look like. And yes, you can put them lights in the front if you want to do it. You can buy them. It costs about £3. Strip of lights in there. So that case, I think, really did actually kick this thing right off. What's the next one? Oh, okay, yeah. So right. Now, bear with me. I just want to play this. It's going to last about 60 seconds. Assuming we get. Assuming you're going to play. No, you're not going to play for me, are you? You're going to be all funny on me. Come on. Okay. Oh, what I'll do. No, it's all right. It's just. Tell you what. No. I'm just going to switch screens. Just bear with me, so I can actually see it. Because I like this video. Because I actually think this probably sold. So it's going to. You'll see it. Now my favourite bit after this. I really like the 3000s, you may gather. I really do. Sound better with the speakers, doesn't it? That one is that one. And that's the same one. There you go. And I didn't cry as well, I'm quite impressed. Now it's going to play back, come back. Okay. Right, so obviously that video was quite successful. There's lots of people involved in this. So me at the front, quite boring, but my wife obviously put up, we had a little deal when we got married. She said, love me, love my cat. And I'm not a big cat, I've got a beautiful cat now. You may have seen my cat, which I saved from France. I love my cat. But, and I adored her cat. But I said, well, yeah, love my Amigas. Oh, okay. So yeah, so she's an absolute diamond. Some of you may know Phil South. Yeah, some of you. He used to write for the magazines like Me Shop in the old days. He's a fantastic guy, and so he does all the documentation. He translates my gibberish into English. And this is an important guy, Rob Cranley. All the electronics. I didn't like that one. Didn't like that one at all. Yeah, that's a reject. That one is now. So as you know, it's a prototype, but he did these boards. So there's, as you may or may not know, there's the board, which is this one, which powers Amigas, all Amigas. Okay, it's got a lead, comes out, plugs into the back into the power socket, and that's how it does it. There's also a Zorro board that he did that goes inside, and that works with it. In fact, this one's one, it's got my Ariadne 2 card in it. You can see that. And there's other things we're working on as well, but it depends on how successful we are at the moment. The boards, oh, they've gone crazy. Now, there is another member of this team, my little boy. Don't make me cry. Right, so I obviously built Alfie into the plan for the Kickstarter, because funnily enough, I knew when she was pregnant. So we kind of put it in a plan. He didn't have a very good birth, and we had a few problems in birth, but he's a tough little sod, as you can see from that picture. Michael sent us something for him. Yeah. Unfortunately, he kind of. Well, how old is he? At the time, he was about 10 weeks. Oh, it'll be all right, it'll fit. And he made it up, he sent it, and we put it on him, and that was it. You got to take it off him. So we got the picture, and that's the main thing. And of course, and he loves his mum dearly. which I don't know if you can see that. Actually, that's not come out too well. But we got a video of me just wallop like that. But yeah, so things. There was a few delays with, not delays, but you know, as I said, I'm off for a couple of weeks. And obviously the Kickstarter was a success. 91,806. Of course, you can take 10% off that because of the fees and that. But yeah, it was a success. It went past it. He shot past it, had me sweating like crazy. Hence the dance at the end. Sue said, "You want me to do what?" You know, we do that rock and roll dancing in my bedroom. And Caroline, do I have to do this? Yes. Okay. Okay, so then of course once it's done, now I'd already done a couple of prototypes, as you saw in the video. There was 2 prototypes. This is the first prototype, and basically the idea was I could put. Some of you may or may not know, the whole point of this is modular. So there's 4 different types of these that screw into the back. One's for 1200, one's for 500. The 1200 one, which is this way. This one's a 1200 and a 600, so you can put both in here. Then there's the 500 one. There's 2 PC versions, one that takes, well, they both take mini ITX and micro ATX. But one's got horizontal slots like that, the other one's got vertical half-higher slots. And that's why it's modular. That's the whole reason for that. But this one was supposed to take 500. I put it in, I messed up. Totally messed up the back panel. So that was no bloody good. So I ended up testing it with the PC, but I put AROS on it, and we did all videos with AROS, which was cool. This one, you probably all seen this one. This is the second this actually had the 500 in the second time round. It's really expensive making these prototypes. If you do it, Jesus, it costs a fortune. But every time you make them, about £1,000. So you know. So that's that one, and then this is the final one. No, that's that one. So you can see in here, there's the Zorro board in there, and that's my Ariadne card. Now, originally it was narrower, and you was only going to be able to get cards that end at the Zorro fingers. But I decided, because I wanted to also put water cooling in, which is in there in the case, I thought let's just make it even longer, and I made it the same length as the 3000. Which in the future may mean I could put 3,000 and 4,000 motherboards in it, which is maybe. But I don't want anyone smashing up A3000 cases, obviously, but I'm not worried about the 4,000 cases. Ugly. So that doesn't matter. But as you can see, so it's pretty, yeah, my cable layout is not particularly neat, but it works nicely. And of course, there's DVD drive and so on. Right, it's right along. So that's this one with the different, just so you know, that's actually 3D printed, that one there. And just been sprayed black. That's not actually the final black. We can see because I've got everything in it, and that's a GTX 1080, so it'll take the biggest and baddest systems. So then we had to make them, obviously. Manufacturing is great fun. Just make sure I'm not going off. I've done 4 slides. Yeah, okay. So we're starting to make these now. The one thing I did say right at the beginning was I wouldn't accept pre-orders. So once the Kickstarter was done, I didn't want to take pre-orders, and that wasn't because I wanted to be holier now or anything like that. I just haven't got time. And some people have done Kickstarters and then they start taking pre-orders. And it's okay if you're doing it as a full-time job, that's fine. But I wasn't. I was just doing this in the evenings and weekends and something, so I just didn't want to do that. Now, let's come on to the subject of the extras. Oh, God. You know, I planned this thing really, really down to now, and then I mean, there's a slide at the end about it, but I planned it really carefully, and then I doubled the time. I just, you know, so I've got plenty of time. And I'd actually planned to end in March, because I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I was 2 months early? It would be fantastic. If it hadn't been for the extras, we would have been done. Now, I don't take what I'm going to say as any kind of criticism. The fact that people bought extras is, trust me, it's flipping amazing, okay? But it did mess up my timings a bit. So we had £50,000 worth of extras, which is nearly the same amount as the original I got at Kickstarter. And what that meant was, and there was 2 things about it. A, obviously, we had to make the boards, obviously, which was fine, but because it was that amount, if it'd been like what I thought, well, 10% extras, it won't matter, I'll just pay for the parts and it'll all be good, and it won't make any difference to the but it was so much more, I had to get people to pay, a certain number of people to pay for the extras. Unfortunately, people were a little bit slow, so that, and I'm not blaming everyone because it took me a little while just to get everything ready to get the ordering system sorted out. And then it was like 4 weeks for people to go in. So it's not a complaint, it's just the reality of it. So as I said, I plan to have everything arrive in May, June, and start shipping June. Well, as you may have seen from the pictures, everything is starting to arrive now. The boxes, the white boxes have arrived. The black ones are coming next week. The circuit boards are just been finished. They're on their way from China, hopefully the end of the month. The plastics are another story. I'm having to fly a load of plastics in, and the rest of them are coming on a boat. So I'll do something about that later on. So I should be shipping, at least start shipping in June. I don't see any reason why not. I'm going to say I'll be shipping in June. Now, the one thing I will have to say because of the extras is, now I originally said that how many people have actually ordered one, by the way? So, oh shit. Okay, so, yeah, okay. So, I originally kind of thought it's only going to take me a month to build these things. That's fine, I go in the evenings, I'll do it at weekends, it'll be fine. And then, of course, there's all the extras, and I've got to put because I'm building every single one of these. I didn't want to, people say, why don't you just get something? No, I'm not trusting anyone with these. So, because they've not got that investment in this thing. So, I'll be building them all. But they're going to take about probably, reality from start to finish is going to be 2 to 3 months to actually ship them all out. Now, bear in mind, 80 people still haven't finished it. Yes, Dan. So I haven't actually finished the paperwork. So they will come out there, but they will start shipping in June, and they will probably, I would think by the end of July, most people will have them, and then they're trickling into August maybe. Okay, so just bear with me on the shipping. That was one of the reasons. Now, there's a couple of people who've... Did anyone here order 10? No, right. So there's a couple of people who've ordered 10. I have a bit of a concern, not sure what they're going to do. I've got to speak to them, but I'm going to restrict theirs. I mean, let them have 1 or 2, and then I'll ship the rest at the end. Because what I'm scared of, I'm sure you'll appreciate, because David accidentally fell into this trap, and he got in a lot of grief about it. I don't want someone me shipping out theirs, and then they start selling them because I'm going to look like a dick. And I don't. The project doesn't need it because I've got a bit of a long-term planning. So I'll be restricting that, and then they can have them at the end. But I do appreciate the orders. I tell you what, really? Crap. Right. So yeah, the extras are wonderful. Yeah, calculations. I've done that. I've done all that. Yeah, done that. Yeah, I've done that. Yeah, done that. Okay. Right, so, well, that's that. Once I finish, I do want some questions. Hopefully people can ask some questions, so I'll keep this a bit brief. Right, future of the Amiga. Oh, hang on, so that's some of the stuff being made. Yeah, that's my, yeah, I know, I've put a thing in there. Why have you put that in a floppy? It's the only one I had that had a nice slot in it. It wasn't going to be too bad. Now, ideally, most of you know let me stand here. That little panel there, thanks to a lot of people who backed this and actually ordered one of these for £5, meant they raised half the money for the tooling to make that, so then I put the extra half in, so everyone gets that. If you order one of them, you're going to get 2. Okay, and I really appreciate that, I really do. But basically what that is, it's a blank plate there, so it will look blank like that, but if you turn it round, it's a panel that you can cut slots out and you can mount things to it. So you can mount things like that card, you can put your USB slot and audio, all that kind of stuff, and it'll screw in nicely. So that's the idea of that panel there, if you haven't seen that. I may open it, if anyone's interested, I can open it and show you. So that's actually, I was really pleased, because my concern was people weren't going to use it, and then you have this bloody great hole in the front like that. Look horrible. Yeah. Oh. My little tribute. Someone said to me, why don't you put your name in it? That's no chance. So I've got Jane Miner, I've got Dave Haney. Now, obviously, I haven't been able to get permission for Jane Miner. Hopefully, it's not going to upset anyone. But Dave Haney, I did get permission. We've seen that board. That's one of the boards that Rob made. Obviously, there's that little socket. You can see the pins come out. They just push into the power socket on the back of the Amiga. And it works with the 500, 600, and 1200. But if you've got a 500, you can use the Zorro board. Some people get a bit confused on this. That plugs into the Amiga, that goes into the first slot, and then it's like the edge of the Amiga again. And then if you've got something like 500, well, what's thank you, God's sake, I've got one. And you kind of, instead of going like, you turn it like that and plug it inside, okay? And the top one is a full Zorro 2 slot. So you can put any Zorro 2 card in it, but it runs at Zorro 2 speeds. Remember that. I'm hoping someone's going to do an adapter so we can do it with 1200 at some point. I've got people who are interested. Yes, this is the keyboard. I couldn't believe how many people. I didn't think many people would want this. I was 300. Crazy. I had no idea. Manual. I've got an English one and German one. So I'm assuming there's no Germans here. Any Germans? No. Lazy sons. No, I'm kidding. They've been fantastic in the past, and they bought tons of my Siamese system. So I thought I'd do a German manual for them as well. So there's an English one and a German one. Okay, yeah, the project management by Scotty. So, and I'm glad I did this anyway, because as I said, if I'd planned it, I would have thought February. So I doubled the time, and that's it. And I should have 4 times, but that's so. With that slide there, if I am actually late, you can take the later on. Okay, so that's another one by Paul Kitchen. Do love these pictures he's done, and you can see the box. I'll open the box up if anyone wants to see it. And there's the box. Okay, so what's the future now? When it comes to Amiga 34, I have back in the old days when I did that inside out board, we did actually have a plan, and nothing's changed. So I think that we can do something similar. So I'm not going to go into detail about it, but what I will tell you is that I honestly believe that AROS is the future. Now I get so many people email me, why don't they put Amiga OS as open source? Why don't they, what? It's already open source, and it is source code compatible with Amiga OS 3.1. So it is the platform. I'm not biased. This is, I believe, even in the 32-bit version, it's better than all the others. It's got the best 3D engine. It's got tons of support. The only problem it's IDE for connecting. I'm going to get technical. It needs SATA. However, there's a 64-bit version that has everything, much more security, as much data. It's 64-bit, so you can get as much memory as you like. More importantly, it supports multiple cores in AROS, and it's really not a simple thing to do. So one of the things I'm planning on doing is I'm going to be launching soon a fund where, because of the money I'm going to take some of the profit. Right now, AROS, my thing is this. So I want to get, how many know what an APU is? Okay, so basically an APU is for example, an AMD 8-core CPU with a Navi chip on it, okay, which is an APU, which is going to give you a really silly amount of performance. Get a low-cost board, put it in there, have AROS running on it. So you've got a choice. You can either have AROS running on it, but we don't have the drivers for the graphics, and we don't have drivers for the SATA yet. So I'm going to start a fund, and what I'm going to do up to £5,000, I'm going to basically say anything that people up to £5,000, if people put into this fund, I'll match it. So we'll double it. My aim is to get to £10,000. Getting to that amount. Now, if it goes pear-shaped, I'll just refund the money. It's all going to go into a PayPal account, and so it can get refunded. The idea is, I've already been talking to a few developers that to do it. The original. I spoke to Michael and was going to do a Polaris drive, but it was complex. It needs other developers to come on board. Now, there's another part to this which is really important before I do this. How many watched the Mike video? How many wish I hadn't done it for 2.5 hours? Right. But the really important thing that comes out of that was, and you can see it, he said it. Mike's plan is to open source the Amiga's operating system. Okay, that is the plan. The other thing was, and which I think is more important, one of the problems AROS has always had is it doesn't have a brand. You know, AROS is not a brand, but initially it was called the Amiga Research Operating System, and they were stopped from using that. Now, Michael and I are talking offline, and Michael even mentions it in the video, that there's no reason, once this court case stuff is sorted out, that we cannot be called Amiga Research Operating System again. Now, if that happens, we can then pull people from other communities because they'll take it more seriously. So if that can happen, then we can sort out a fund, get these graphics drivers, get the SATA drivers, and just finalise it, and then we'll have a pretty powerful platform. And I see the other two, because at the moment, then, if we do that, we're on x86, we're on ARM, we're going to be on PowerPC, right? We're on 68K. So there's an awful lot of work's been done, and if I can get the other two players, well, obviously I've got my Morphos machine, but I haven't got my Amiga OS one. If I can get them to sort things, well, it won't be me that does it, but if they sort things out, then maybe we'll have a future, because I really do believe in it. I think we can have a nice little thing, as I try to call it, we can start another little cottage industry. Well, Mike was confused by the term, but basically there's an awful lot of people doing little projects and some big projects that if we can get the legal rubbish sorted out, then I think people can actually maybe start making a living from me. Because at the moment, this is not replacing my day job yet. And I won't do that. It would not become my day job while this is legal. So, because this and that won't work. Anyway, that's that. And that looks nice, still going. Right, does anyone have any questions? So you can ask me anything you like.
What's that in your hand?
That's it's my backup. So I've got a mic plugged into my phone over there, but of course that's over there. And this is just my backup. So if the audio doesn't come out very good, it's just a Tascam recorder. So what I'm going to do, if anyone wants to ask a question, I can do that. I know, right? Yeah. Right. So any questions? And then I can point this at you. Well, there's Mike's everywhere. Go on then.
Have you had any, like what I would call a cold sweat moments where something's gone wrong and you thought, how on earth am I going to sort this out?
No. I'm honestly trying to think of it, because someone asked me, someone was asking me about this, was it hard work? No, this is my bloody hobby. No, this is my hobby. And I mean, in the old Checkmate days, I'm not saying I wasn't any good at business. I relied on James for that. I've had to learn a lot over the years, but I was just nuts about making products. I don't want to sound like Apple, but I like making things. I've always liked it. And I never, with this one, because I never designed the original case, this is all mine. I know I ripped off the look. I know I took the design from the original, and there is a lot gone in here. And also I had tons of feedback from people. Like, for example, the original design was going to be 2 3.5 inch drives to make it smaller, to make it the same size as 3000. Well, no, it would never be the same size because you wouldn't get a 500 motherboard in it. But then Briel from the States said to me, "I only put 5 1/4 drives in." I said, "No, start off." Oh God, that's a good idea, isn't it? So that's why you've got 5 1/4 drive bays. These are, and they're quite tight, but they'll take any 5 1/4 device. So, and that's why then we had all these panels, etc., etc. So no, I've none at all. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. And it means I can come, because my favourite thing was do shows. I loved it. I mean, we'd go to the shows and it was fantastic. But I always tell the joke that when I'm doing the show and I'm standing here and I'm talking, I don't think it's me. Because if I visit a show, if you ever watch me walking, if you see me walking around, like, I'm actually quite shy and I'm going, I really am. So I go to the show. I think there's something wrong with me. I just click. So but I love doing this. So it's, ask me that question maybe in about when I'm still trying to say 524, 525. No, ask me. Yeah. But at the moment it's just great. I'm absolutely loving it. Right. Anyone else got a question? Then I'll bring the mic to you.
Is that a PC keyboard? That one, the ones that haven't got the right. Okay. And the same with that one.
Yeah. Right. So let's cover the questions of the keyboards. Does anyone know about Kipper 2K's keyboard? Okay, so he's doing a replacement keyboard for the Amiga 500 and I think it's a 1200 as well. And of course, he's got one of these, so it fits in here. Okay, but he's doing a proper Cherry mechanical keyboard, but it's going to be really expensive. Okay, which is great because if you want that, fantastic. I'll be getting one obviously because I'm an idiot, but they're going to be really good. And I think it's going to come to £150, something like that. It's going to be quite expensive, but it is going to be fantastic. So I've ordered my case, the 500 case from A1200.net, the guys, Philippe and that lot. So I've got that coming. I've got a black one coming. I'm going to have these keys in that colour. So, but for me, if I'm going to sell this as a product, I can't sell a £200 keyboard with it. So, and I always did at the beginning was the plan, because I'm a massive fan of the 1000. And I wanted to be able to slide my keyboard under it. And I wanted the looks, which is kind of, it wasn't really the reason why it's that size, because the reason it's that size is because the 500 motherboard going in there. That's the reason it's that size. But it means that I can do, with one hand, let's see if I can do it. Yeah, I know, right? So that, can you hold that? Yeah.
responsibility.
Oh yeah, the responsibility. It does go under, trust me. You know why? Because I've got it straddled across the tail. There you go.
Would you like your mic?
Yeah. So I wanted that to look like that, and of course it does the same over here. But some people like this. They want to have a full-size keyboard because they like the number pad. So you can do what you like. I mean, not everyone wants the riser. I know that Neil's saying it depends how high it comes up. Well, the original I was going to do 2 heights. I've changed that. It's only 1 now. It was going to be a 30 and 45, but I've settled on a 40. So most of them slide under there nicely because it's just a manufacturer and making different sizes and then getting in the whole. Oh god. So does that answer your question? Someone asked me a difficult one that's going to get me in trouble.
No, it won't get you in trouble.
I've got to try it.
You sort of answered it already, but
Okay.
would it ever be a thing that you would basically do a A4000 keyboard type,
Oh, you mean
injection moulded, proper A4000 style keyboard?
Right.
But I'll be on that in a heartbeat.
Okay. I'm not going to do that.
Okay, that's fair enough.
You never know what comes.
And also, just I've ordered mine,
yeah,
gone for the white one.
yeah.
Is there a possibility of maybe you setting up, if people want to swap their colour, say if I want the white one, he wants the black one, and you swap it at your end, so we get the opposite, if you see what I mean?
It's a very good question. No,
He's got a white one, I've got a black one, and he says, oh, I really like the black one.
it's a really good question, and this comes down to the whole extra thing because I over manufactured by about 6%. Okay, just for these little problems. Okay, so technically, but I did lock everything down at a certain point because I was really scared that everyone would suddenly change colour. I had to shut it down. There are some spares. If it's a case of someone like, say you both said, oh, we don't want, I might turn around and say, can you not just meet each other and swap them?
Yeah.
It might be one way. Or if I get, like an email, you both say it, etc., etc. I might swap them out. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. What I can't do is, if you say to me, I've got a white one, I need a black one, then I'm going to look, once they're all shit, I'll put yours to the back. Yeah, and I'll say, right, have I got some spare whites? Because literally there's only about 10 of each colour, spares and backed up. So it's doable. Swapping's easy. No, you don't do that. No, don't do that. No, I'm sure we could do something, but it depends how many I've got. As I said, I have over-ordered. Yeah. In fact, no, I tell her, I've got about 25 sets, because I've actually allowed another 25 cases, because... but if that's the case, we can technically do it. If everyone says it, I'll say no.
A quick question, actually.
Yeah, good. Hang on.
Obviously, if you buy it, you get the front of the thing. Are extra ones always going to be available? So, because I've actually seen it where you've had the black with the white front, and it looks really nice, and vice versa. So, could you just get the front plate on its own?
Okay.
Sort of thing. Have you?
That's easier. Yes.
Yeah.
So the reason is because the original batch was for 600 cases, but I ordered 1,200 sets of plastics. The idea was, I'm hoping I wasn't have a garage for these bloody things. The idea was I was pretty sure that I thought I could easily sell at least half as much again, and I've already got like 60 waiting on the waiting list, and I've got a load of PR that's going to come out at some point. So the answer is, yeah, that'll be fine. It's just I might not be, I might charge you a little bit for it, see at the time. But the answer is I've got 600 spare sets.
Okay.
Yeah? I'd rather sell them as a complete system, but I don't think it'd be a big deal.
That's fine.
Yeah? Next question.
So, in 20 years' time, when I'm in my 60s, am I going to need to retrobike it?
This bugger, did you see the video I painted it? Yeah, it is this one. Is it that one? No, it's that one. So basically what happened was, it's dead. Well, my batteries died, so that's the end of my video, and so I hope you're videoing it. So basically these went yellow. The 3D print ones from Shapeways went yellow. In fact, no, tell a lie. It was the one from China, but it was only the 3D print one. So it's the answer is no. These won't, because these are UV resistant. But yes, this did. But I did. Was you the one who sent that message in? Because I did get I did get a message on one, and they said to me, "Can we have it in yellow so we can retro bright it?" No, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Actually, asked the question. No, it was on yours. Yes. Did you put that in, or did someone? Okay. No, I'm doing the same thing with my. I've not added with these interviews. I'm not adding any questions of mine, and I'm not influencing them at all. So yeah, that was. But yeah, it did make me laugh. I thought you might cut it out, but no. Right, any more? Another question? Come on. Someone asked me a difficult one. I've got it.
Do any of the prototypes of that Siamese PCI card still exist? Do they work? All that kind of stuff.
Okay. You mean the inside-out card?
Yeah, inside out card. Sorry. Yeah.
Mick, where's my card? Right. So the problem was the board was made, it worked, but because I've got to be careful what I say here because but me and Paul never got a board from Mick. So I know I think he only had one or two prototypes, and we never received one because when the Gateway pulled, because it's a bigger answer than just a question. When Gateway pulled the plug, I asked Mick, "Can I have a board because we can still do this on our own?" And we didn't get a board, so I never saw the board because the reality was Paul was so clever. And I don't know if any of you ever used the RTG software. We could run 24-bit graphics over the serial port. I mean, obviously, if you're moving data, it was slow, but over just a basic Ethernet, it was faster than a Zorro 2 graphics card. So imagine what it would have been like over a PCI bus. It would have been blazingly fast. And the idea was originally that because the Mac emulators work so well, that we would use. That's what they wanted it for. It wasn't they wanted Amiga because that's why I didn't have a chipset. And we obviously long term, we would have done that. But initially, it was just a Mac emulator because then they could say Mac piece Windows. But they pulled the plug on it because in the end, all they wanted was the bloody patents. There you go. So yeah, does that answer that one? Right. Another question.
Change the subject slightly.
Go on then.
AROS. Last year I did. I basically went off and investigated all of the what you call next gen systems, and I spent quite a lot of time with AROS and tried developing with it and on it and all the rest of it. Quite happy, yeah. Basically, rather a lot. Well, obviously it's grown back, but so. I mean, I'm quite happy to privately discuss my findings, and I'd like to.
Open source, so you have problems.
Yeah, a lot of problems, and I'd like to go into that offline. But bottom line is, it needs hardware. This quite simply, it needs a common hardware. Have you seen?
Yes.
Have you actually yet seen the work on the Raspberry Pi and stuff? I mean, how's it coming along?
Okay.
And can you answer any of that?
That
or not?
is a really big question.
It's a big subject.
No, it's fine, and it beats my. Do you remember the project called the Amica system? Okay, so about 2009, 2010, because one of the things that we wanted was a reference platform that you could actually build. So I spent about £4,000 paying for drivers. So Michael Schultz wrote me a GMA driver for Intel's 945 chipset. I got David Wenzel to write the HD audio drivers. I got Nick to do the network. So basically, we had these little Atom boards. They were our DJ 97846, whatever it was. But it was basically an Atom single core, but fully supported, completely supported. And I made the whole thing in a tiny little case for £230. And people said they wanted it silent as well. So it was silent. It was, it came with a USB stick. It would boot from USB, but you could add your own internal 2.5-inch drive. I am getting to a point. So we actually had a completely, it was an Atom. It was more than quick enough for any ECS stuff. It was more than quick enough to run AROS, and it was. I mean, it's actually. I should have brought it with me actually because it meant you could also use the little Acer Aspire laptops. So if you buy one of those Acer Aspire ones, you can install it on there. It's fully supported. Even the Wi-Fi is supported, so you can go on internet with this little laptop, right? Fully supported. Then everyone said, "No, I want a faster CPU." Get stuffed, right? Because here's a reference one people can develop on. I've also done a load of videos about how to build custom. Now, this one here has a fully supported motherboard with an AMD. I can't. It's it's about a 2.5 gigahertz AMD chip in it. It's quite an old one. The drives are IDE. We got a problem with SATA. Okay, we've got to solve. But that is fully supported. It's got NVIDIA graphics. It's got the sound. Everything just have to work on that motherboard just nicely. Now, that's why I was saying earlier on. I want to launch a campaign to get these drivers, but I need to entice Linux developers. And no disrespect to our guys, because we've got some fantastic developers in AROS, but we don't have access to some of the real chip guys. Now, Michael's amazing, and the money's actually, because I paid him for the graphics driver, and he just takes his family on holiday with the money. But the fact that I've already spoken to him, I said, well, I'm going to do another one, but I'm going to try and raise 10 grand. You're not having 10 grand, but you can I'll pay half of that at least for the graphics drivers to support Navi. Okay, maybe more, because that's the most important bit. So that's why I want to launch this campaign, but I need AROS to be called not AROS Research Operating System. It needs to be called Amiga Research Operating System again. Now, Michael's keen on doing this. I think it will. I mean, don't get me wrong, we ain't taking over the world. But if you've got, for example, because at the moment everyone has brand issues. Oh, but it's not branded. It's not. Do you want an Amiga operating system that runs on multiple platforms? It's the fastest one out there. Now, I'm a big fan of AROS. Everyone knows. I also love Morphos, and they've used certain parts of AROS. To me, AROS should be. I'm going to talk about this a lot more another time, but to me, AROS should be the core operating system, and everything else, everyone else feeds into it. So it's a bit like a Linux core. You have the core operating system, and then we have different distributions. I see Morphos being a distribution, and then Amiga, it's not here, is it? Because I haven't got a board. Amiga OS being a distribution, 68K. Now, the good thing about 68K, if he does open source it, it can replace our AROS code, or we can take some of the stuff that actually speeds up the standard one. Because everyone knows that I don't get too technical here, but the 68K version of AROS is nowhere near as quick as the standard one. That's because we don't have all those machine code bits in it. And we're all C, it's totally C, so it's never going to compete, and you need a fast machine to get the decent performance. But it is very compatible as far as games are concerned. But going forward, I think having the Amiga systems on x86, on PowerPC, on ARM, and 68K, because that bloody Vampire, I think, is real big. To me, it's a big, big thing. Because to me, right now, what I'm really interested in is the Vampire, doing that, and then that's long-term one. So AROS, I mean, I've made the money from the cases, and as I said, I'm not doing this for the profit. I'm going to probably take the kids away, but I am going to then start investing it again. But I'm not going to be. I threw in the $4,000 last time, but I'm not doing it this time. I'll match the community. So we'll find out if the community is actually serious about, and all those people who say about we want open source Amiga. There is. I do. I mean, I've talked to Michael quite a lot, which I can't say too much here. I talked to Michael quite a lot, and I do think long term, if he can just get this legal crap out of the way, if they can come to an agreement. I actually think there's money to be made. I think everyone can make a reasonable amount of money and make a living. It'd be so nice, because some of the hardware that's being done, the Vampire guys, they're not making any money. Everyone thinks they're making money. They're not making money. It's pin money, and they reinvest it back in again. We want people making money, actually doing it for a living, like Scott over there. He probably earns a fortune writing software, but people like Scott, and all the guys in there like Zeb, lots of people doing all this stuff, creating, just providing services. I do think we can build a community, and we can build that back. Maybe long term could be, I don't know, number 5 again. If we got in the top 5 operating systems, okay, yeah, you can laugh now. But seriously, I honestly think if everyone just sat down and sorted this stupid legal stuff. Now I'm going to get in trouble because I've got to go sit down with Hyperion. But that's what I said. No one's asked me a difficult question yet. Right? Does that answer your question? Anything else you want? I know we can talk offline. But remember, I'm not an AROS developer, and that's how I tend to fund, encourage, inspire the kind of. I go, what do you need? I do that, and that's how I got it all done. With Michael, he says, 1,500 quid. Okay, right, here, do it, and there's 1,500 quid, that's fine, because, people don't do stuff for free. People think it should all be for free. They think AROS is open source, it should be free. Someone has to work. We lost one of our best developers he got so sick to the back teeth that people were taking him for granted. And he was the one that ported, he took over the NVIDIA Nouveau stuff for the 3D. Oh, God. It was fantastic, the stuff he's done. Some of the code he's transported across and things he's done with AROS. There's another guy called Nick. I forgot his surname. But he has a few little personal problems, but he's writing an awful lot of code and really important stuff, especially on the multi-core. And I'd love to be able to pay him so he can do it for a living. And it would solve so many of his problems. But people think it's free. But if it was done sensibly, if the other big players that I would like AWOS to always, no, AWOS will always be free. Let me be clear about that. I would like the other three players, to be putting code into AWOS, using code from AWOS, and making money from their branded versions, and don't be shy about it. I mean, more of us have got AWOS in the credits. I don't think AmigaOS use any, but then if we just shared it, and we could make it really do well. Anyway, another question.
Difficult questions.
Oh, go on, ask me a different.
What's your impression of Hyperion and AmigaOS 3.14?
Crap. No, because I'm going to answer it. Yeah. Okay. Bear in mind, I've got to sit down with Hyperion. Hey, Carson Table, look, if you read David's book, I have a go at him and Mike. So there's a part in there, and I'm going to come back to you. I'm not skirting around, I promise. But I actually had a go at Hyperion and Mike about the whole Raspberry Pi thing. You mentioned Raspberry Pi. This might help, because I'd spoken to Eben, and because when they first launched, I had a meeting with Eben. It sounds posh, he was in the pub when I bought him a pint. Sat there, and he's a massive Amiga 600 fan, and he loves Amiga, right? And he wanted to get Amiga emulator on the Pi. I talked to him about AROS working on it, which I know is another bit of the question. I talked to him about that, and he was really keen, but he wanted to put the games on the Pi, which are already on there now, obviously. And I spoke to Ben Holmes by email, Ben and Mike, and then I asked them, and it all went a bit pear-shaped. And I did say in the book, I'm trying to remember what I did say, no, there was. I should say something. It was one word that Mike didn't. I wish I could remember it now. There's one word that I'd actually realised was wrong, and I changed one word. It didn't make a little bit of difference. He said, "I think that word not quite right," and he was absolutely right, because we hadn't. I think it was along the lines of. We've been having lots, and we don't have a couple of discussions about it. But if you read the book, and I don't know if you're interested, I've actually said it in the videos, and I'll put it online. And I've also apologised, but one word changed. It didn't make a subtle difference, but that was the only thing he said. He was like, "Well, that's not right, because I didn't do that." And I went, "Oh crap, sorry." So yeah, so that was that. As far as the Raspberry Pi is concerned, the work on the Raspberry Pi. I'm going to come to you. Raspberry Pi. It sounds like I'm chickening out, doesn't it? The Raspberry Pi, there is a lot being done on it. Nick's doing a lot of work on it. Michael's doing a lot of work on it. They are trying to, I think it's already been brought up on the Pi. So AROS has come up on the Pi. But I don't know if some of you know, we have a hosted version of AROS. Yeah, oh yeah, okay, I don't use it. But basically what you do is you have a Linux host running, and then you can run AROS, and it runs kind of a sub-process, and it shares the resources by your face. I agree, I want it native. Having said that, the work it is up and running, but it needs a lot of work, and the problem is we haven't got the number of developers to really go to town. If we could have sorted out the licensing for AmigaOS for the Raspberry Pi Foundation, it would have transformed things. They would have only used the emulation side of it, but I believe everyone would have got really interested. Because imagine the AmigaOS now on ARM with multi-core, run on that, and that's going to fly. Amiga's really efficient. Right, let's get back to Hyperion. Do my head in. Okay? Now, I've been upset with Mike as well, and I've made it public, and I talked to Mike, and this whole thing with it, but there's a lot that, there's an awful lot in background story to this, which I knew bits of it, and I now know quite a lot more. But if I say anything, then obviously it's I don't want to call it now. It's not black and white. None of this is black and white, okay? There's no bad guys here. It's just people making certain decisions that I don't think are in that are in the interest of the community, and I think Hyperion need to just sit down, sort the problem out, because I do think they can make money out of Amiga OS 4. Now, I'm being very specific about Hyperion, the company, not the developer. I love the developers. I love the team. I mean, I don't use Amiga OS 4. That's not because I don't think... I like Morphos. I think Morphos, as Mike said in the video, Morphos is the next gen. My opinion, I think it's next gen done right. Okay. The only thing is, it hasn't got dragging screens. I mean, even Avos has got dragging screens. It needs that'd be nice, and they have got that on it. But it was the whole, because I talked with Trevor about this a long time ago, and it's like they just wanted it to look like the old workbench and didn't move it forward. Whereas Hyperion, they got a little bit Apple-y, maybe a little bit. But I think having said that, since we had DirectX Opus 5 Magellan on here, this is way better. I think it's absolutely amazing. So, but no, Amiga OS 4, I'm not a big fan. I mean, it's nice, it's great, and I love the things it does. But I'm not a massive fan. As far as Hyperion and the developers, I mean, I've met them and I've sat down with them, and I thought they were going to beat me up, but they weren't. They loved the stuff I've done with AROS because they like AROS. All the developers love AROS. They just love developing. That's what they do, and they enjoy doing it. But I think the whole thing with, and again, there's no, as I said, there's no one's in the main players. Let's say there's 2 players in this, okay? They really just need, Hyperion and Coanta just need to be able to sit down, sort the problem out, sort out what's going to make money, agree it, and just finish it. Okay? But of course, if you see me when I have this red face problem, sometimes flares up. So if I sit there with a red face, I say, no, it's not. I've always got those. But yeah, so if they've seen this again, about what you said, but unless you want a very specific question, yeah. Any more? Oh, sorry. It's 3.14.
Yes, but any opinions to that?
Fucking awesome, isn't it? Yeah. Why did they do it? I'm really glad it came out, and I've got it, and I put it on my 1200 at home, and I think it's fantastic. I think it's running on that one. It's a brilliant piece of work. But the developers did a brilliant piece of work. I'm concerned about, because that's 3.1 is still comes under Cloento's Amiga Forever. Well, okay, I can say this bit. This will probably guide you a little bit what I think about it. Why did Hyperion trademark Amiga Forever? Did you know that? There you go. I can leave it at that. Games are being played, but I'm not blaming Hyperion, I'm not blaming her. But this is the reality. Bargaining chip. Oh, right, okay. They need to sit down and sort this shit out, because all we want to do, I mean, I really think 3.1, I'll give you an example. I've had so many problems running D-Paint now. I've seen your stuff, it's awesome. I don't have any talent, right? But whenever I do a demo, I load up a paint program. Oh, yeah, look what I can do. Yeah, and I do the circle, and yeah, look at me, look, I'm really good. Oh, I ain't got a clue. But I can never get D-Paint 4.5 to work on my machine. I've always had trouble, especially running whatever I run it on. As soon as I put 3.14, and bang, it came up. I was like, oh, okay. So maybe something wrong, but I just think they should hand it over to Cloento, or they do a deal on that, because I see it. 3 is Cloento, 4 is Hyperion. That's their rights, and Morphos is Morphos. But if everyone worked together, and we saw that was a little bit, to me, it was no. And of course they're going to say, well, we can't believe you said that. That's your problem. But I won't be asking any questions in this interview. Any more questions? Any more difficult ones? That's not going to get me in trouble. How about one's going to get me a punch in the mouth when I go to Germany? No. Any more? Are we all done? Have you got a gavel? Right. Thanks very much for putting that on me. This is not as long as my usual videos. My phone's got bored with me and turned itself off, so I'm hoping I'm going to be able to see that one. Thanks for coming. Thanks for listening. Hand up. Who bought a case? Oh, there was one. Thank you for buying the case. Who bought more than one? How many did you buy? Okay. I was like, 100 orders were for 2. I'm like, really? And then there was 8 that wanted 3. And then, as I said, two guys have ordered 10. Yeah, but I've got to be careful in case they're going to sell them, as I said. Right, one more thing. Okay, so yes. Now, these posters are absolutely free, and everyone can have one each. Okay. Right, but right, and this is it's just a little twist your arm. It would be great if you just give a little tiny donation. They are free, I promise you. If you can give a little donation to swag, just to help, because these things cost a lot of money. So if you want to make, £1 donation or something like that, they are free. You can take one. If you want to make a donation, that would be appreciated, because I love coming here. I mean, some of you know I sponsored this, but that was only because I missed one, and they did it here, and they said, "Oh, we're going back to the other place. Oh, I want to see the new hall." That was basically the reason anyway. So, but yeah. So now that one is the original picture that was done with the Kickstarter, and these are going to go into cases. So if you've ordered a case, you're getting one of them. Anyway, but this is just basically a copy of, well, obviously, if you're brainy to know that. That's for Paul Kitchen, one of his. So if you do want one of them, as I said, they are free. You can take one. If you then later on want to give a little donation to them for the club, then that'd be really nice. But by all means, come up and grab one. One should be enough for most people. Okay, so thanks for taking the time. Sorry I look like a bit of a dick with this, but it's not much, not much I can do about it. Really. And it is still working. Shame about my phone. That's because I had it going for about half hour earlier on. I turned it on at 11, and then I went, oh, better turn that bloody phone off. So that's died now. But my mate Neil has got that. Okay, thanks very much, and see ya.